This is going to be the official first episode of the podcast I planned on doing, but yes, I do realize that I made an episode before this, but this will be the official first one, and that will be considered episode 0 from here on out. And I am going to be making this one about my story and how I became a pagan. And I'm going to just start with the beginning of it. I grew up knowing about Greek mythology and a bit about Egyptian mythology, since I was told what Valhalla, don't like the word Valhalla, was when I was at least 11. But I always knew who the Greek gods were and who the Egyptian gods were. Well, mainly Anubis, and then later Set and Horus, but also Jehuti or Thoth. And that's really what sparked my quest to find my own path. I tried to be a Christian. I even watched the 700 Club every day. I listened to the Bible as an audiobook. I prayed a few times, but I didn't feel connected or answered. I just felt disconnected, and then I tried to get into Buddhism, but I found that to be way too complicated and also a little too restrictive for my taste. Way too restrictive. Then I tried to be an atheist. That didn't work because I felt like there was something more. But at the same time, I didn't think there was just one God, because I knew Cometics existed before that. I knew that people worshipped the Egyptian gods. I just didn't think that was what I was doing. I didn't label my own belief in a deity until later. But I knew that Cometicism existed because I watched a documentary about ancient Egypt, and it mentioned that people worship the gods in the modern day. But I just never considered my own belief that way, because I tried to be an atheist. I thought, there has to be something more. And I tried to be both Christian and Buddhist, but one just didn't feel right, and the other was too complicated and also didn't feel right. But it was a part of me finding out where I belonged and what I do and do not believe. Because in 2016, I discovered a picture of Loki while just browsing Gods of Fire. And that led me to it led me to the song Loki, God of Fire by Mikhail the Ram. R.I.P. But that's what led me to watching a video by Galina Kas. I'm not even going to try to say her name. But that led me to finding racist stuff, and that made me scared because I'm not white and I'm not able-bodied. I found a video of this one guy who basically said that Loki was Satan and that he just wanted to corrupt us and to steal our souls, which I found super hilarious. I found it hilarious. But I can't find that video. I'm not even sure what happened to it. Maybe it got deleted. I'm not sure. But I digress. It was a really shitty video. But it led me to find other people in that same vein of racist apologists and people who wanted nothing to do with people like me who are not white and not able-bodied, because we don't matter and we're not fully European. Also, we want to worship a God who is an oath breaker and who wants to do horrible things to us. But I kind of found that to be funny because it ignored that other gods could be just as bad, if not worse, and that it almost made the gods seem holier than thou and perfect. But that ultimately made me feel discouraged for about 3 months, wherein I tried to do more research and avoid racist people, if you want to even call them that. But I also came across people who did weird things like sewing their lips shut and drinking blood. I was a little put off by that, but I stuck with it because I thought, okay, Comedicism seems okay, not too extreme there, but here it's something. And I didn't really come across Hellenism because it never occurred to me to believe in the Greek gods like that. I mean, I believe in them, and I did believe in them because I believed and still believe that all gods can and maybe do exist, but that I just don't work with them. And it's a different tradition. So I got more into Norse mythology by finding videos, and I mostly stuck to watching Jackson Crawford's videos. And I also found some other channels like what the heck is it? Name of the channel? Found other other channels like the what's it? Why So Serious Alokian channel, but I mostly just try to stick to academic sources for belief. And that led me to eventually getting Neil Gaiman's book, Norse Mythology. And that book is good, but it's not an academic source and should not be taken as some scholarly source, because he does take liberties and he even gets some things flat out wrong. But that's where I started before the end of 2017, when I got Jackson Crawford's The Poetic Edda and some other books on Norse mythology. But I also tried to watch documentaries and listen to audiobooks. The documentaries were okay, but I didn't really understand them. And I thought there were things wrong with them even before I really knew the sources, because it just seemed off to me. But I also I just knew that certain things didn't make sense, like the Vikings didn't live in teepees. That was a stupid thing to say in a documentary, because that's bullshit. But yeah, I ended up doing more research, and I do value doing research and knowing your sources. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't construct our own practices to an extent. And as someone who predominantly works with Set and Anubis, particularly Set, I can say there's just things you have to work with on your own till you figure out a balance between you and them. But this is my experience with working with him, and I don't and haven't appreciated when people say, well, gods are essentially the same and there's no real differences between them, and every god is just an archetype, and archetypes are all that they are, when the Norse gods are not archetypes, and it's really hard to put them into an archetypal system, especially Loki. And I tried to do this, but it didn't work because he doesn't really fit into a trickster archetype or a protector archetype or the liar god archetype, because he's more about telling people and his fellow gods cold, hard truths more than he is prone to lying straight to someone's face. Because lies are lies are often more easier and painless than the truth, because the truth is often something we don't want to face, and that is hard. But this is where I'm going to end for now, since this is going to be a two-parter.